America's eyes on Europe's war in 1855. A critical moment for U.S. Army modernization, a desperate attempt to catch up.
Exactly. Spring 1855, McAllister and Tanner get these unexpected orders, summons to report to Colonel Richard Delafield for foreign military observation duty.
This was huge. But why them specifically, and why was this commission such a strategic priority for General Scott?
That's the key question, isn't it? Because at this point, the Crimean War was raging, a truly modern industrial conflict.
What made it so different?
Extensive trench warfare, devastating rifled artillery, mass siege operations against heavily fortified positions. It exposed critical weaknesses even in strong European armies. And the U.S. Army was watching, questioning its own readiness.
They were using railroads, rifled guns.
Even balloon observers for aerial reconnaissance. Cutting-edge tech and tactics the U.S. desperately needed to understand and absorb quickly before facing its own major conflict.
General Winfield Scott, commanding since '41, America's relentless soldier, he personally supported and organized this.
He did. He understood the stakes better than anyone. Old masonry forts, obsolete. Siegecraft, railroads, telegraphs were revolutionizing logistics in battle. Scott was legendary discipline, transforming the Army, writing drill manuals. His masterful Mexican-American War campaign trained a generation of future Civil War leaders: Grant, Lee, McClellan.
A committed professional and reformer.
Uniquely positioned to see the Army's future needs and act decisively.
So the commission's mission was clear.
Urgent. See, record, and return home with ideas that could shape the future of the American military. The goal: modernize the U.S. Army before it's too late. Not just observation, actionable intelligence to prevent catastrophic unpreparedness.
And the minds behind this mission, truly the best America had, selected by Scott himself.
Top tier, the leader, Brigadier General Richard Delafield. Career engineer, fortifications expert, first in his West Point class of 1818, chosen for discipline, scientific rigor. Major Alfred Mordecai. Also first in his West Point class. Top ordnance officer, fluent in French, tasked with reverse engineering the latest European artillery rifled cannons, powder production.
And the youngest member,
Captain George B. McClellan. Class of 46, second. Sharp, energetic, analytical mind, fresh combat experience from Mexico, their relentless correspondent. Meticulously observing field organization, cavalry tactics, staff systems, logistics areas the U.S. desperately needed overhaul.
They were joined by Captain Henry L. Scott, Winfield Scott's aide,
whose reputation gave invaluable diplomatic access. Captain William H.C. Whiting, class of 45, first brilliant engineer, mapped the complex trench systems at Sebastopol. And Captain William F. Reynolds, class of 43, topographical engineer, produced detailed terrain sketches, maps crucial for understanding the new scale of siege warfare.
Not randomly chosen. Experts reflecting the Army's commitment to professional standards and its desperate need for transformation.
Their observations across Europe were eye-opening, often stark, in England. Reviewed fortifications, Armstrong artillery. Noted a new humility after Sevastopol losses, despite pride in new breech-loading rifled guns. Tanner observed, their pride is wounded, but their minds are opening. Seeing a major power admit shortcomings and adapt rapidly.
France was beautiful but tense.
Yeah. French officers, suspicious, displayed innovations but treated the Americans mostly as guests, not equals. McClellan, with his fluent French and charm, navigated the political currents, skillfully extracting info. McAllister shrewdly saw them playing chess, Americans as pawns.
But there were still revelations.
Astounding ones. French balloon reconnaissance at Sevastopol, using balloons for aerial observation of enemy positions hinting at future air power. Revolutionary. Tanner meticulously detailed it, recognizing the potential for intel and tactical advantage. A mathematical, rigid military doctrine, battlefield geometry, precise movements, hyper-efficient logistics. Tanner found it too rigid for unpredictable American terrain. McAllister acknowledged them as engineers marching to a different tune, seeing brilliance in their systematic approach, even if it lacked American improvisational spirit.
Austria showed them something different. A quiet revolution.
Yes, one with profound impact. Female nurses transforming military hospitals, inspired by Florence Nightingale in Crimea. Tanner immediately saw the strategic value. Medicine is not mercy, it is strategy. Medical care is a weapon in its own right. The side that heals faster fights longer.
Incredible foresight into military medicine.
Shifting it from just aid to a critical component of readiness and morale, absolutely crucial for the Civil War's unprecedented casualty rates. Efficient medical care could mean the difference between a fighting force and a broken one.
But the most visceral experience was visiting the actual battlefields outside Sevastopol.
Oh, profoundly impactful. Rare permission. Walked through a landscape still scarred. Broken gear, shattered bones, a single boot jutting from the earth, a collapsed field hospital. Grim tableau of modern warfare's cost.
Nameless graves.
McAllister noted them poignantly. Tanner summed it up starkly. We saw theory in Prussia, but here we see cost. Colonel Delafield, seeing their reactions, delivered that crucial lesson beyond technology. War does not evolve in weapons alone. It evolves in the hearts of men who wield them. May we be worthy of the changes we must now bring.
And looking over the desolate fields.
He added profoundly, how little they planned for the price, emphasizing the immense human toll, a lesson that would echo tragically in America's coming conflict.
Yet, despite the weight, the grim lessons, there were moments of levity.
Endured, yeah. Minding the men. Impromptu fencing duels in Belgium, gifts of wooden sabers in Bavaria, McClellan's humorous slip in the Alps, broke the tension, showed the resilience, camaraderie, necessary counterbalance.
Letters from Clara and Eleanor showed anxieties back home.
Reminded them of the deep divisions they'd left. Kids asking about abolition, drawing cannons, whispers of war. Eleanor wrote to James, "If you bring home the tools of war, also bring home the wisdom to prevent its coming."
McAllister acknowledged the responsibility.
We're not just here to learn how to fight better, and Tanner, reflecting on Crimea's horrors, we're here to remember why we should fight less.
The urgency was underscored when Nathaniel got news of his brother Andrew's appointment to West Point, class of 1860.
McAllister realized, looking at his own commission, the next generation's already marching, we'd better leave them a road. Reinforcing that their work in Europe wasn't just for the present, but paving the way with vital intel for the conflicts the next generation would face.
At a final dinner in D.C., Delafield summed up the mission.
Profoundly. The greatest lesson is that war does not evolve in weapons alone. It evolves in the hearts of men who wield them. Major Mordecai, grim-faced, warned, the storm that brews at home is darker than any we have sailed through.
In McClellan.
The pragmatist. What we learned must shape not just the Army, but the Republic. Capturing the profound implications military preparedness linked inextricably to the nation's political and moral state.
Just 2 days later, Tanner and McAllister summoned to General Scott's HQ.
Scott, no preamble, delivers a stern, almost prophetic charge. This is not an honor. It is a responsibility. War is not waiting. It is coming. And when it does, I expect you to be ready.
And with that, promotions to first lieutenant.
A clear sign. Lessons from Europe to be immediately applied. The shadow of conflict looming larger than ever.
Promotion showing confidence, yes, but also recognizing the gathering storm, leading us into divided paths and the gathering storm, 1858-1860, Army modernizing, nation tearing apart.
Indeed. First Lieutenant Tanner assigned to Fort Caswell, mouth of the Cape Fear River, North Carolina, meticulously assessing, updating aging defenses, mapping corroded vents, cracks, a quiet concern growing.
What did he write?
This fort is built to withstand a foreign fleet, he mused in his journal. But will it withstand division from within? Highlights the internal threat, crumbling loyalty mirroring crumbling mortar.
February 59. Temporary assignment to Fort Sumter, Charleston Harbor. Assessing drainage, powder magazines, meets Major Robert Anderson.
Who becomes pivotal, tragic at the war's start. Tanner, the engineer, warns about humidity, lightning striking the powder magazines. One lightning strike, he cautioned Anderson, and this fort could go up like a flare. Technical warning, but also metaphorical for Charleston itself.
Anderson was concerned about Charleston's atmosphere.
Deeply. Shared his observation. You hear it, Lieutenant. The undercurrent. Charleston is holding its breath and not out of peace. Tanner's journal cemented it. The brick stands, the guns are sound, but loyalty beneath our boots is crumbling faster than mortar.
A chilling premonition of Sumter's future, where the war would begin, triggered by internal division.
Exactly the forces Anderson and Tanner were witnessing.
Far west, First Lieutenant McAllister commands Troop D, 2nd U.S. Cavalry, Texas. Challenging frontier assignment.
Learns endurance, adapts, leads men, frequently references Delafield Commission lessons, advocating rail-supplied artillery, mobile logistics even out west. Debates tactics with officers like George H. Thomas, Van Dorn, John Bellhood.
Showing how European observations directly influenced his tactical thinking on the frontier, shaping what Civil War battles would need rapid movement, resupply.
And Robert E. Lee, then Lieutenant Colonel in the 2nd Cavalry, observed McAllister, offered crucial counsel on institutional change.
What did Lee say?
You see clearly, Lieutenant, but do not mistake insight for influence. Lead by example. Others will follow eventually. Speaks to the slow process of military reform, the importance of demonstrating new ideas practically. a lesson McAllister took to heart.
The next generation felt the strain too, maybe more acutely. Andrew McAllister, Nathaniel's brother, final year at West Point, 5960.
Praised for precision but caused friction with his sharp tongue in those heated debates about secession versus bondage consuming the mess hall.
Colonel Delafield noted it.
Visiting, he remarked, "Better a future officer who speaks than one who obeys without thinking." Acknowledging the intellectual ferment, need for independent thought amidst discipline, Andrew's own resolve was clear. If we graduate into peace, I will be amazed. If we graduate into war, I will be ready. Shows the ideological split affecting the very officers soon forced to choose sides.
On the home front, the wise keenly aware, bearing a unique burden, Eleanor's circle for spouses.
A quiet but powerful network, exchanging news, mutual support, subtly influencing morale. Clara chronicled the home front in her journal, neighbors whispering over state loyalties, churches splintering over abolition, mirroring the national schism personally.
What did Clara write to Nathaniel?
Reflecting despair and defiance. "If war comes, I will be disappointed, and every man who lets it come without a fight for unity first," highlights the profound emotional toll on everyone.
Early 1860, immense pressure. Tanner promoted to brevet captain.
Honorary rank, signaling immense trust. He joked to Eleanor, masking anxiety, "Then Captain Papa it is." McAllister also promoted to captain.
His reflection.
Mused to Clara, "Let's hope the title still means peace more than war. What matters is whether I can still be husband, father, and friend when the storm finally breaks." Deeply personal reflections, grappling with duty versus personal life, knowing their world was about to shatter.
And that takes us to the poignant epilogue. West Point, June 23, 1860. The gathering storm, no longer distant, but an undeniable presence.
The setting is bittersweet, almost heartbreaking. West Point, warm June sun, class of 1860 graduating, future hanging by a thread. Foreign generals, observers from the Delafield Commission present, seeing the culmination of reforms they helped inspire, yet witnessing the terrifying political fragility.
Andrew McAllister, Nathaniel's brother, stands tall, no longer a boy, ready for history. Receives his commission, 2nd Lieutenant, Corps of Engineers.
Symbolic. Torch passed to a generation that will undoubtedly face war, armed with the knowledge and divisions forged in this pre-war crucible.
General Scott, frailer but resolute, delivers his final charge.
Voice resonating. "When loyalty is tested, let honor answer first. And when history turns its eyes to you, let them see not just soldiers, but citizens of principle. May your swords defend more than lines on a map. Let them defend what is right." A heartbreaking plea for unity, a moral compass for young men soon forced into impossible choices.
Later on the superintendent's lawn, the officers' circle reunited. Scott, Delafield, Mordecai, Tanner, McAllister, McClellan.
Delafield speaks with quiet pride of reforms already in motion, direct results of their work, the Commission's findings. Improved artillery doctrine, expanded West Point curriculum, standardized supply chains, mobile field hospitals, telegraph units. Fundamental changes, born from observation foresight that would underpin the Union's war effort, proving the value of their insights.
But the unspoken divide was palpable. A Prussian general asks pointedly,
"What becomes of doctrine if your house divides?" McAllister answers, voice even yet heavy. "Then the army must decide what it serves, its principles or its factions." Highlights the ultimate agonizing choice that would rip the officer corps apart. State versus nation.
Scott's legacy tragically intertwined with this loss. Tried desperately to keep Lee in Union service, offered him top command.
A heartbreaking failure when Lee chose Virginia. Scott passed in '66 at West Point, saw the Union preserved, but carried that weight of personal and national division.
The tragedy extended to others. Major Mordecai.
The brilliant ordnance expert refused to fight for either side, resigned in '61, lost one of America's greatest military minds to divided loyalties. His genius neutralized by the conflict he foresaw.
Yet the lessons learned were applied by a divided corps. McClellan.
His analytical mind shone, rocketed to fame, organized, trained the Army of the Potomac. Organizational genius, applying European lessons on logistics, staff systems, shaped the Union Army's structure early on.
Even applied by the opposing side.
Captain William H.C. Whiting, brilliant engineer from the Commission, joined the Confederacy. Applied Crimean lessons to design formidable defenses like Fort Fisher. Key Confederate engineer. Captain William F. Reynolds served bravely in the Union's Western Theater using his topographical skills. The knowledge gained impacted both sides profoundly.
Tanner offers a final toast.
Voice echoing. "Then let us meet the future with discipline and remember the friendships behind us." Delafield's closing toast echoes the hope and sorrow. "To engineers of courage and to a peace worthy of their labor." a peace they knew was unlikely without terrible cost.
The inevitable storm is at hand. Andrew McAllister, alone at Trophy Point, looking at the Hudson, turns to his brother. Do you think the Army will hold, Nat?
Nathaniel's reply, gazing at the far shore as thunder rumbles, chills. It will be tested. So will we. What we do next may decide more than just battles.
The final image. Chilling. Andrew touches his new commission. Crisp paper, brewing storm. Thunder rolls. Quiet but undeniable. Premonition of cannon fire. The last lantern flickers out. To be continued. Stage set for a war to transform everything.
So we've followed McAllister and Tanner from that hopeful 1848 graduation through years of intense growth, witnessing the Army's profound modernization efforts. We've seen how transformative tech steam, railroads, rifled artillery changed the nature of war, and how the Delafield Commission brought cutting-edge European insights home to prepare.
Through it all, the integrity, the professionalism of these officers, trained under giants like Scott and Lee, stood as this fragile bulwark against the nation's fracturing. They wrestled with duty, loyalty, trying to apply new knowledge, innovative tactics, even as the country pulled itself apart.
Forcing them to choose sides, brother against brother, West Point against West Point.
This deep dive really reveals how those foundational changes in military tech and tactics, combined with the deeply personal struggles, the divided loyalties of officers trained as brothers, how all that directly shaped the brutal reality and ultimate outcome of the Civil War.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that the grand sweep of history isn't just abstract forces. It's often defined by the choices of individuals facing impossible circumstances, armed with both innovation and, well, very heavy arts.
So as we consider the foresight of these men, preparing for a modern war, what does it tell us about our capacity, human capacity, to understand and adapt to impending crises, even when the deeper moral and political divides prove too vast to bridge peacefully?
And what lessons can we draw about that delicate balance between technological advancement and human principles when a nation is at war with itself, where the very tools designed for defense become instruments of devastating internal conflict? Something to think about.